Hey everyone, Rob here from Gunfather Milsim. Today I want to talk about the 5 best pieces of tactical advice I have for woodland play, so outdoor games. I came up with this list basically after years and years of playing. I've been playing Airsoft since the late 2007 and years of real world SWAT training and simulations training. Been doing that since 2009. After years and years of doing that stuff and always kind of trying to be critical when I make mistakes, when I do get hit, when I do get killed, when I do fail to achieve an objective. I like to sit back and ask myself, what went wrong, what went sideways, what could I have done better? And when I do that, more often than not, like 90% of the time, I find it's not a failure in accuracy or my reload wasn't fast enough or my transition wasn't good enough. None of the hard skills. It's always it's a decision making issue, as in I made a poor decision at one point and that decision is what kind of caused the failure. So after years and years of reviewing that, I kind of made a couple of rules, a couple of hard and fast rules that I always follow, and I found when I started following these rules, my kill percentage went way up and my win percentage went way up. And they're real simple, and I'm going to share 5 of them with you today. So rule number 1, always look around cover, never over. Real basic one, but this rule is critical. So when you move up to a piece of cover, if you look over it, which is nice because you can see everything all at once. The problem is everybody on that plane can also see you. And you can only engage one target at a time. You can only assess one target at a time, but they can all engage you at the same time. It's a huge disadvantage, and you're going to lose that game more often than not. As opposed to when you look around cover, you can control how much of the field you're looking at a time. You can control which targets you're engaging at a time, and only that target can engage you back. It's much more efficient, and it's much more effective use of your cover to always look around it. Sometimes you have to look over it. There's no choice, but I would caution you against doing that whenever possible. Always look around cover. Oddly enough, it's very similar to CQB, where you want to pie the door versus running into the room. It's all about OODA loops and how many threats you can observe at a time versus how many can observe you. So that's number 1, always around cover, never over. Tip number 2 also has to do with cover. When you move to a new piece of cover, always check your 90s first. What I mean by that is you check your exposed flanks, your left and your right, typically, because that is where your greatest threat is coming from. You're moving to a piece of cover for a reason. We're assuming you're moving to it because you're taking rounds from downrange directly towards you. When you move to that cover, you have protection from that threat. The question is, what are the unknowns to your left and your right, which you don't have cover to? Always check those first. Those are your greatest exposures. Incidentally, that's also probably where your best opportunities for getting some quick kills are at, is engaging people at those deep angles where they don't expect you. So when you move to a new piece of cover, always check your 90s. Tip number 3 is get on line. Now, what line am I referring to? I'm referring to a skirmish line, which is the most basic formation you're going to have in Airsoft. So we're going to use the marker board for this one. In this scenario, red's the opposing team, blue is your team. Now, red's got an established skirmish line using pieces of cover. Obviously, the black lines are simulating pieces of cover. Blue, on the other hand, does not have a good skirmish line. And this is very common for newer players. They like using the guys up front as their canaries in the coal mine to try to see where these bad guys are at, try to locate them, and try to see how far they can shoot. These guys in the back here are really screwing over these guys in the front. It's very frustrating to be one of these guys in the front and look back behind you and just see people waiting to see what happens. They're screwing over their entire team, and it's really not that effective. They would be better off moving up, getting online, establishing a good skirmish line, such as, let's say this guy moves here, this guy moves here, this guy moves here. Now they're on a good skirmish line. Now they can have supported attack, coordinate their fire to engage these multiple targets at the same time. Real basic stuff, but new players often don't do this. What maintaining your line also means is not getting beyond your line, not getting beyond your support. Let's say we got a piece of cover up here for whatever reason, and this guy's particularly ambitious and runs up here. If you move ahead of your skirmish line too far, they can no longer support you, no longer protect you, protect your flanks. And now this guy's going to be getting fire because he's unsupported. So although theoretically this could be a great position, you have to go to that great position at the right time. If you move up without support, it's going to be a bad position real quick. Rule number 4, avoid 50-50 gunfights. This is the most important rule in my opinion. Once again, back to the marker board. What is a 50-50 gunfight? Well, situation is, here's your bad guy, here's you, you're both on cover, and you both know where each other is at. And you're both engaging each other. You're going to win this gunfight about 50% of the time. You're also going to lose it about 50% of the time. We should not be content to engage in battles where we're only going to win 50% of the time. We want to stack the deck in our favor. We want to be in the 80 to 90%. Okay? That's the level that we want to engage targets. So we can basically be victorious consistently. So what do we do when we're in a 50-50 gunfight? Well, I've taught myself that whenever I get in the situation, alarm bells go off in my head and I say, Rob, get the hell out of there. Or change the map. Now there's a couple ways we can do this. One way is I can do suppressive fire on the guy, get them looking away, displace over here. When this guy comes back over here, he's going to think I'm over here, which is going to give the advantage to me, and which is going to put me in that 80% to get that kill because I can shoot him on an exposure. That's one way. Another way to beat the 50-50 gunfight is to call for help. Help. Calling another guy. Now you got 2 guys attacking that same target. Now your percentages go way up. This guy can displace over here. You get a better angle. Now you're winning that fight. A third way to avoid the 50-50 gunfight scenario is a tactical retreat. Now, a lot of people don't like to do this. Lord knows I'm an aggressive player. I do not like to retreat. But sometimes it's the smart thing to do, and sometimes it can lead to advantages. Let's say in this scenario there's another piece of cover here. Maybe this guy can see it, maybe he can't. If he can move back to this piece of cover, it forces this person to advance. Maybe there's no objective here. Maybe the objective that is here isn't worth fighting over, at least not that particular time. Moving back forces this party to move up, maybe into a exposed position where you can easily step out and engage them, especially if they do not know where you fell back to. Fifth and final tip is know the range of your gun and do not shoot at things you cannot hit. More correctly, do not shoot at things you cannot hit consistently. Airsoft guns lose accuracy very quickly at the end of their range. Let's talk about a basic AEG, a rifleman. Some of them, well-tuned, can shoot out to about 200 feet. Okay, I know people brag about more. Stop. 200 feet, that's about your maximum range. Now, the difference between shooting at 200 feet and 175 feet is the difference between hitting your target 5% of the time and 80 to 90% of the time. It is not worth that 25 feet to give up your position on such a low probability hit. It just isn't worth it. Learn the tactical patience to get your targets to move into you, or you need to advance closer to them so you can get those guaranteed hits. Get inside into the effective range of your gun. Otherwise, all you're doing is giving away your position. And your opponent not knowing where you're at is probably the biggest advantage you have on the airsoft field. Airsoft essentially is a game of who can spot who first in range. So don't give up your concealment on a low probability shot. So those are my 5 best tactical tips for outdoor airsoft. Now, is that all there is to it? No, I didn't touch on a whole bunch of things. I didn't touch on OODA loops at all, or really attacking from angles or any of that stuff. But these are the 5 big ones that I like. These are the ones that if you kind of keep them in mind and always follow them, your kill percentage will go way up and your win percentage is going to go way up. So please take them to heart, use them, and see what happens. Employ them in your play, and I'm sure they're going to work out well for you. Side note, I am still selling Gunfather Milsim patches. They look like this. I have about 20 left, I think. I'll order more if I have to. They cost $8 a piece. If you want one, I appreciate the support. I don't make a lot of money on them. In fact, I don't really make any money on them. But I appreciate getting the word of the channel out there, and I appreciate guys wearing them and helping me spread the word, so to speak. So if you want one, go to Gunfather Milsim on Facebook, send me a message, then Venmo me or PayPal me $8, give me your address, and I will get a patch to you. All right? To those who have bought them, I appreciate it. Thanks for the support. I try to put the pictures that you send me wearing it on my channel, and thanks for watching.